Okay. So one way to use WebGIS, and like I said, GIS used to be just a desktop application. It wasn't that long ago. It was when I came into the state, so probably 15 years ago. It was strictly kind of a desktop application. It really didn't get out on the web. It was a pain because it was just basically the analyst who had the software on his machine. He'd have to do whatever analysis he did, and then he'd basically have to gather everybody around his machine and show that way. Probably about 2003 or 4, WebGIS started getting more popular. ESRI came out with a way to publish services out, and then you could consume them in web applications. So you could make something on the desktop, publish it to the web, and then just send the URL out, and everybody could see what you had done. It was a big step forward in GIS. So one way to use it is just informational display. This is a application that we did for BOE, and it shows the top 500 sales and use tax delinquent accounts. So I don't know if it shows it clearly here, but these dots are different size. And they're different size based on the amount these people owe. So this is another way. You're using the data and the shape, and you're basing the size of the shape on the data. So again, GIS, data along with a geographic element. Okay, you can do, there's several ways to get to maps. You can embed a map in your web page, and that's what this is. This one here, the one prior to that, this is a standalone website, and I'll actually bring that up and see if I can actually hit it live to show you that. So this is a standalone site. This is all a GIS site, and it's accessed by a link off a page. This is an embedded map, and it's actually part of a larger page, and it's embedded through an iframe. And I know a lot of you probably worked with iframes, and all you have to do is pass the URL. You give the iframe a size, a shape, and a place on the page, and then you pass it the URL to a map, and you can bring it right into your page. WebGIS can go beyond just informational display. And now what we're actually finding, once WebGIS got out there, you can use it as a business tool. And a lot of departments are doing that now. So this is one we did for GoBiz, the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And what this does is allow people, when you think about a lot of things that the state does have a spatial aspect. We did another one of these for their finding your local sales tax. So that depends on the city you live in. So because of that, you go to the city, and it's all based on the shape. You can zoom to that city, and each different city has a different code. So what we use over here is a basic address locator. So you fill in your information, you hit go, and what this has done is this has gone in, and this is a Kern County address, so it goes in, highlights Kern County. And what this application does is for foreign investors, if they invest into an area of low or high unemployment, then they get certain subsidies. So it used to be a big, long process for them to do this, and it took several months. And finally they said, hey, maybe we can use GIS to do this. So we've automated this whole thing. People can enter their address. It comes up, it tells them if they're qualified, if they're in an area of high unemployment, and from right here they can submit their application. So it's a one-step process, whereas it used to be several back and forths between the department and the investor. So that's one way you can use it for, this is a real simple analysis. So the basic analysis that a lot of GIS does is, does this point fall within this boundary? Whether it be a state, whether it be a Here is it's an economic area. All Kern County is designated as a rural area, which qualifies as low or a high unemployment area. So does this fall within a high unemployment area? Does my point, which is my address, fall within a high unemployment area? If it does, then you take the next step. So that's another way GIS is being used a lot. Okay, now we're going to go into some resources. So the basic resources that you use for web development of GIS are web services, which are accessed through REST endpoints. They look like this. So I'm going to go to this one. This is the one we run absolutely right out of here, and we maintain this. So we've got all our services by theme here. So you can go to any of these, economy, and you're going to see all these, anything that says map server, that's a layer that you can access and bring into your application. And you don't need any special software to do this, and that's what I'm going to show you later, hopefully. These are public endpoints, and they're open to anybody. All you need is a URL. You can bring it into your application. Lots of departments have this, so that's ours. Here's one for fish and game, or fish and wildlife. And you can see they basically all look the same. They're all organized by theme. Within that theme, they have various layers. So here's the marine. And like I said, again, anything that says map server, that's a dynamic layer. You can go into it, and this dynamic layer is made up of several what we call feature layers. So if you see something with an index, that's a feature layer. There's a slight difference between a dynamic layer. A dynamic layer can be a group of layers. If you access it at that level, then you bring in the whole group. If you just want a subset of that group, like one or two layers, then you use an index, which is listed right here. Web APIs. So this is really kind of, what? Hey, I just showed my hand. Well, I will go into this web API. Let me go here. On screen. Check task log. Okay, here's the API from ESRI for JavaScript. They have one for Python. They have one for Mapbox. So there's a lot of different APIs for a lot of different applications. What you can get out of here, since a lot of you are probably developers, this is probably where you want to go. This tells you all the different widgets and everything you can bring in. Again, all this is free, so it's just an API. It's just a reference you put on top of your page. You don't need any ESRI software to use it. This gives you just everything that's available, and there's a lot available. WebGIS has really come a long way, so it's not quite still where the desktop is. The web just doesn't perform like your desktop does, so there's a lot of things you probably don't want to do on the web just because it takes so long. But there's a lot of things you can do on the web, and this is a really functional API. Google has an API too, of course, and a lot of you probably use that. I use that too. I use both, combinations of both. So we will come back to that API. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so yeah, I mentioned the Google API here. And that you can do, with the Google API, you can do a lot. You can bring in points. You can do geolocation. They have a nice API that allows you to access Street View. I don't know if any of you use that, but that's a really handy one. I put it in almost all my applications. You click on the map, all of a sudden, boom, you're in Street View. You can browse at that level. Customers really love that. Another resource is geolocators. So a lot of you probably use geolocators, which is the functionality I showed before. You put in an address, it goes to that point. Then you got reverse geolocation, where you give it a lat long and it gives you an address. So if you, we have access to the Bing geocoder. And Bing geocoder is highly updated. It's very good. So if any of you would like to use that and like access to it, just let me know, and we'll send you a key. So we can generate a key for any department, send you that key, and then all you have to do is put in that key in your request, and it works. And that's free. So if you have a geocoder that is so-so, then we have that. We also have, actually, I can show you here, under location, we also have all these geocoders available to you. These are all good geolocators. They have different fields they look for first. So you have landmarks where you can just put in a landmark and go there. This one's a good one, parcel, city, and point of interest. So all these geolocators are slightly different. Again, you can go here, hit these geolocators, and they'll tell you what input you need to put in, and you'll get a return back. So as far as free geolocators, we offer these, and then we also offer the Bing. The Bing you have to request, so I can give you the API, the key number for your department. These you can just hit and bring right into your application. Okay, now this is where I'm at. Okay, so I'm going to actually try to give you a live demo here to show this is all very accessible and pretty easy. So I'm going to open up, it's a regular text file. Oh, I want to go in sample code. So this is excellent. The API reference, that gives you all the properties and methods, of course. Sample code is a really nice place to go because it gives you actually working applications. So I'm going to go into feature layers. And now query and select. Okay, so I'm going to go to this one. It gives us code right here. So I'm going to copy this code. And like I said, I don't need any kind of Visual Studio. I actually do use Visual Studio, but you can just use any text editor. I'm using Notepad here. And then we'll go File, Save As, and we will say test.html. Okay. Now, go to Documents and open that up. Does this how, let's see, does this have, yeah. Close all tabs. Open with Chrome. Okay, so that's how simple it is. And in there, they have all kinds of functions in sample code. So you can literally sit there and take little pieces of sample code and build a whole application. It's highly configurable. So what I grabbed right now is just South Carolina here, and it's the counties. You hover over it and you get county information. Okay, what I can also do now is I'll open up my test, and actually I got a cheat sheet here. So you see right here, this is where pardon me just a second. Okay, this right here is the base map. So that's the map in back of there. So right now it's going into South Carolina because we've given it the type of base map we want, which is streets. We've given it the center, which is the center of South Carolina, and a zoom. So I've got a little cheat sheet here that's got my center of California in it. So I'm going to put that in here. And then grab my longitude. Okay, so I put the center of California in. Okay, this is the county layer. So what they've done, and you can tell in the county layer here, this is the URL. Remember I told you the layers, you just send it a URL. So this is a feature layer, so you can see it's got the map server and the index. And it's an ESRI Census USA. So that county layer is actually a whole, the whole nation of counties. And what they've done here, right here, is put a definition expression on that layer and said, give me South Carolina County. So I can just go California, if I spell it right. Okay, so then I can go File, oh, and let's, California is a bigger state, so we're gonna not zoom in as close. So this zoom level we'll put at 6. And then I can just go File, Save, and hopefully I can go refresh. And there we are. So we're in California, and we've selected California counties, and now it works the same way, where you get all the info for California counties. So that's basically what I wanted to show you today. I know that went quick, but if you're interested in doing this, what I was trying to show you is that as a webmaster, you really don't need a GIS person if you're doing just kind of simple display of GIS. And even if you want to get into it a little bit more, these are the resources that are available to you. So I'll make one quick slide here. New slide. So I'm just going to put my email here. Okay, can you read that? Okay, so if you need the Bing geocoder, if you'd like a little bit more information about how to incorporate this into your web page, or if you really have any GIS questions at all, give me a call, give me an email. Be happy to talk to you. Thank you very much.